There has been a lot of wrestling games released over the years, ranging from arcade classics to home simulations. But when I see people talk about good wrestling games or even their favourites, there's always one that never appears in any of these lists. WWF Royal Rumble for the Sega Dreamcast is not the best looking game, the most playable, or the most fun, but get a few friends together and it's quite a laugh. Coming out near the end of the Attitude Era, this is a home console port of the arcade game of the same name with up to 4 players. You have 2 game modes, which is very light for a wrestling game. Exhibition is 10 increasingly difficult fights until you become the champion. The other is the Royal Rumble, a 30-man over-the-top rope match. The selection of wrestlers to pick from is, much like the offering of modes, limited and has some odd picks. Fan favourites like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, they are all here. Then you have a few questionable ones, such as Al Snow, D'Lo Brown and The Godfather. Now don't get me wrong, I love these guys' work in the ring and outside of it, but at the time, why couldn't you have just had people like the Dudley Boys, Christian, Eddie Guerrero? There are so many other wrestlers you could have put in to expand the roster. As this is an arcade game, the controls and gameplay is very simple. You have your basic strikes, grapples and specials. In Exhibition, you aim to either pin or KO your opponent. You select your wrestler and also a buddy who can be called in to do different attacks and abilities throughout the fight. Everyone looks and acts okay for the time, though some of the models are hilariously rendered. Move-wise, everyone has their finishes and a handful of moves that they are known for using, but there's no stats or anything to worry about, so you can just pick your favourite. On the default difficulty, it's relatively easy to get to the final fight. Throughout the matches there are random run-ins from other wrestlers, and you can even get sent to different parts of the stage or even backstage as well, which does change up the gameplay. And if you don't want any of this to happen, you can turn it all off in the settings. The final match in Exhibition is either against Vince McMahon or Shane McMahon, and to be honest, it's complete balls. They both do a stupid amount of damage from basic moves, can build their special meter far faster than you can, and can tag in more frequently with greater execution. It made playing this a chore once I got here, as it felt more like luck that I won rather than skill, hoping that they didn't have any stocked up finishes to kick out from pins, or were able to call each other in to break up the pin as well. So the Exhibition mode is kind of but in reality you bought this to play the 30-man Royal Rumble, but with a roster of only 21 people, how does that fare? In short, not well. The way it works is by having the same people come back after they're eliminated in their alternate outfits. It's dumb, and without the correct number of entrants there wasn't really much else of an option. Like a real Royal Rumble, the aim is to eliminate as many people as possible without getting eliminated yourself. And while it's fun to begin with, it quickly loses its enjoyment, at least when you're playing by yourself. Your main tactic is to basically Irish whip or punch people near the ropes and then just stomp them on the outside of the map, hoping to then move on to the next person. What's that, you've just been eliminated? Oh no! Well, just press start and hop straight back in. There's really no penalty other than losing your elimination amount. This was fun with friends at the time, as having 8 wrestlers in the ring all duking out was impressive, but going back to it now, especially as a single player experience, is incredibly shallow. Other Sega arcade ports got fleshed out when they were brought to the Dreamcast, like Crazy Taxi and Virtua Tennis to name a few, so I don't really see why this couldn't have had just something extra added in. I've been a huge fan of wrestling ever since I was a kid, growing up with likes of Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior and many other early 90s wrestlers. So to me, I got this game bang on release and played it through once. After that, it only ever came out when friends came round, and to be honest, we only played that when we got bored of playing SmackDown or WCW vs NWO Revenge, which didn't happen that often. Like I said at the start of this, it's an incredibly shallow game. Half the roster I don't even want to play as, and to be honest, with only having the Rumble as the main mode, once you've completed single player and become the champion, which belt doesn't even say, kinda gets boring super quick. If you can find it for cheap and manage to get 3 other people to actually play this with you, then it can be fun with a few beers and a few hours. But if you're looking for something with more options, more wrestlers, pretty much just everything else, then you can choose any other wrestling game that came out during this era. For me, the nostalgia wore off completely the moment I started playing again, and to be honest, I probably should have just left it there. Anyway, I'm going to stick with Fire Pro Wrestling, a game series I would all highly recommend if you haven't given it a go. Thank you for watching, and have a great gaming day.